If you guys know me, you'll know that I love Alcantara, also known as Microsuede, Racetex, some other different names out there. The unfortunate thing is, a lot of the times, if neglected, it turns out like this. In today's video, we're going to be taking this steering wheel back to factory fresh, looking like this, with a few very simple steps and a full demo. Welcome back, and let's jump into it. You guys join me today in a 2023 Mercedes-AMG GLS 63, and as you can probably see up there, we've got about 30,000 miles on the clock. I would wager to bet this steering wheel has probably never properly been cleaned. And like I said, unfortunately, I absolutely love this material, but this is reality for a lot of folks in their car. They may not know how to clean this. They may be using the wrong products, the wrong techniques. So we're going to go through everything and more. Now, I want to keep this video short, sweet, simple, to the point, but I also want to explain some of the things that come along with working on a material like this. Now again, like I was saying, this material is known as many different names. You have different manufacturers, things like that, but you have Alcantara, you have Microsuede, Racetex, Dynamica found here in Mercedes. They are all treated exactly the same. Unfortunately, I think the thing with this material, why it gets a bad rap, is because it starts looking like this, and then you may start throwing a bunch of nasty chemicals at it, and it never feels like the factory. Fortunately, with doing the process that I do, you can see, I wish you guys could be here and feel this, it feels like the nice, soft Alcantara Microsuede that actually came directly from the factory. It's not piled up. It just looks clean. It feels smooth. It feels nice. Now, this is a material that oftentimes what I recommend doing if you own one of these vehicles is frequently maintaining it and only cleaning it when it actually needs to be cleaned. So this is not something I would clean weekly. Maybe I would clean this lightly every month or so. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, the important thing here is to make sure you are using the right chemicals. I've tried a lot of the dedicated Alcantara cleaners out there. Some of them are better than others. I've used the ones from Sonax. In my personal opinion, they really never feel that great. They always kind of bring the steering wheel back a little bit, but it always feels stiff and brittle. And I've worked on many Mercedes, and a lot of that comes from just not being able to get that cleaner out. Now, they say you wipe this down with damp towel, you're gonna get it out, you're gonna get it out. It just never comes out right for me. And I've found a simple product that actually works amazingly well. This is also not something you want to come in with an all-purpose cleaner, something that is a carpet cleaner, anything like that, because it's just not going to make it feel like it was. Now, the product that I actually love using for Alcantara Microsuede is Posh Interior Care. Big shout out to Eric from Canada. This is his brand. This stuff is phenomenal for cleaning almost everything in your interior, from leather to door cards to plastics, pretty much everything. And what this does is really goes in and breaks down oils. This has quickly become my favorite interior product, and if I had to choose one, it's definitely going to be this. And it's amazing that it actually works here on Microsuede and Alcantara. The reason this works so well is it doesn't leave anything behind. A lot of interior cleaners you use, especially if you look on the back of the bottle, they recommend you come back in with a damp rag. Now, fortunately, like I said, this material, you can still see, I can push this up and down. It's still got that beautiful finish on it because it's not leaving any of that stuff behind. I'm not trying to grab it out with a bunch of damp water towels and get all that stuff out. So we're going to be using Posh Interior Care. We, of course, need some clean microfiber towels because we're going to be pulling all of this crud off of it. And we also want some brushes. So I've got a little lug nut brush here. These are both from the Detail Factory. You can see it's nice and soft. This is going to help us get in there, agitate that cleaner once it's actually on there. This is the Detail Factory Interior Scrub Brush. Now, importantly, this is not stiff. It might look stiff on video. I promise you this is very soft, and it's very good for really getting into that Alcantara and actually cleaning it. Now, importantly, this will freak a lot of you out, but we've got a piece of sandpaper here. This is actually 1200 grit sandpaper. You can go down to 1000. I'll talk about why you're going to need this, why you're going to want to use it, and how to actually use it. So first steps here, we're going to get the cleaner on here. We're going to get letting it sit, letting it work. But first, I need to glove up. I'm going to do my very best to stay out of the way here. It's always tricky to film interiors, but we're going to start off with our Posh Interior Care here. Now, traditionally with Alcantara Microsuede, you do not want to get it soaking wet. This is a product that I found actually works better if you use a little bit more product. Just be mindful of it. So as you can see, I've got all of the screens basically with towels there, and I'm just gonna come in here and let this sit, let this start to dwell. Now this is an important thing for this cleaner to actually get in there and start working. What it's gonna do is start breaking down all of that nasty dirt and grime that has been sitting there for years. Now I'm also going to spray a little right here on my towel, and I'm just gonna start working this in very, very gently. And as you can already see from that area, lots of dirt and grime, but you can immediately already see the difference there as it's starting to pick up that dirt and grime. This stuff is such a phenomenal cleaner. And again, the great thing with it is you can use it up here on the leather and you're not worried about getting that cleaner into here, changing the feel, changing the texture of that. So as we continue to work that in, you can see we're just pulling more and more off of here. Now, importantly, I'm gonna try and make sure we get all of the nooks and crannies in here. Yes, totally okay to get a good amount of product on here. So, gonna spray a little bit more. We're just gonna start working this in. We want this to be a little bit on that kind of damp to almost wet side here, and that's gonna help us with our cleaning power. You can still see just pulling a ton of dirt and grime off of that. I've sprayed a little bit of the interior cleaner directly on my Detail Factory brush, and I'm gently gonna come in here. This is important, gently. We're not trying to scrub the ever-living heck out of this. We just want a nice, soft little brush. What that's gonna do is get those fibers that are sitting down like this to kind of start sticking up like this. Very, very important on here. Now, again, using soft brushes here is what this is all about. You do not want to come in here with a super heavy, very, very strong brush. Next, we're gonna flip to a fresh side here. I like to kind of do this in segments. So we're gonna kind of apply a little cleaner, get it out a little bit onto the microfiber here. So we're gonna come in, we're gonna gently just try to pick up as much of that dirt and grime, and you can already see how much less we're pulling out of it. So you can still see we're already getting to the point where I can actually put marks in this. Before it was just an absolute grease ball. So we just want to continue picking this up here. Being important that we're not just going crazy on this, we're just trying to suck out that cleaner, not as much as we can because we still want to let it clean inside of here. All right, so I've now jumped inside. This is also a very important area here, right in all of the seam of this. You can see I missed a few areas up here. So we can take a smaller brush like this. We're gonna brush this in and just kind of gently come in here and agitate this. Again, we're just trying to get those fibers to really stick back up. Now, I really like the interior scrub brush over using something like this. This is fine to be able to come in here and do stuff like this. I just find it very much helps to use this little guy here. So again, we can come in, you can see how soft this is. Hopefully it comes through on camera for you guys. Nice thing about these also, these are all rubber on the side. So if you're getting them onto, you know, shiny piano black areas, you're not gonna scratch the ever living heck out of them. And we're just gonna continue to do this until we kind of feel like we're at a pretty nice space. Now it's a little hard to see here on camera, but you can see this area right here, kind of where your thumb would sit in this particular area, holding a lot of that grease. You can see how shiny it is versus this up here. We are almost back to our beautiful finish with very, very simple steps. So what I like to do for areas like this, you take a microfiber towel, clean section of it, put a little bit of your cleaner on there, and you can just kind of sit here and scrub this up. Now again, it is not that big of a deal if you start to get a little bit of piling on here, but you can see that what we did so far already made a huge difference. Look at this little corner. You can start to see some of that black we're pulling out of there. It's just some nasty dirt and grime. So the biggest thing here is just to be patient with it. You want to work this in, you want to let that cleaner sit in there, and then you frequently want to come back to areas like this and just start to check them. Now, fortunately, I'm not sure we're actually going to have to use the sandpaper on it because of how nice this actually came out. That's a great thing with this cleaner is it just goes in there, pulls it out. Now, I did have to use it a little bit up here on this side. I'll show you, I still need to do a little bit more right here in this particular area. We'll get into that slightly later on. But that is how we are looking now. As you guys can see, that's a huge, huge before and after. So I'm going to let this sit for probably 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to continue doing some other things around the car. We'll come back and kind of see how this is looking as it's drying up here. But you can definitely tell we pulled a lot of dirt and grime out of this. While we're letting this kind of dry up a little bit, I figured it's probably time we just quickly tackle the leather here. So as you can see, nice little before and after. You can see how greasy, shiny this is actually looking up here compared to over here. Just nice, silky smooth, back to that OEM factory finish. Just feels great on the hands. So all you can do with this, take your Posh Interior Care here, and you can just simply work this in. This is not one that you necessarily need to scrub absolutely everything. Look at how quickly that stuff takes dirt and grime off. Now, if you need a little bit more cleaning power, yes, agitation can always help, but I really find this is a product you can really get some effective cleaning done very, very quickly. Look at that dirt and grime coming off there. And even as I just quickly dry that, you can see we are almost back here. Now, what you can also do, bring in your scrub brush like this, especially helpful for here. You can see it's just got a nice frothy finish to this. So let's flip this over now. Got a fresh, clean side of the towel. Just gonna kind of roll that on there. You can see still pulling some dirt and grime off, but look at that. As it dries, just back to almost perfection here. So you can just sit here, kind of do that until you really aren't picking up any more dirt. A lot of that is coming from this inner seam here. Sorry, it's really impossible to film inside of here sometimes, but yeah, looking back nice, neat, back to how it really should. So once this dries up a little bit more, bring you guys back in, show you a few more tips and tricks. All right, so this has continued to dry here. We're looking pretty darn good. And just coming in here with the towel, just kind of standing all of that back up, we're looking really awesome. Now, it's going to be really, really hard to see, but you can start to see some of these little piles in here. They're just tiny, tiny little balls. Now, if it's at this point, I would probably leave it. Maybe up here it needs it the most. The rest of this is actually looking fantastic here. That is where you can actually come in with your 1200 grit. You can go down to 1000 grit sandpaper, and you are just going to very gently, you're just going to do this on it and really just try and pick up that fuzz. All it's doing is basically just taking it off the surface there. You don't need to go crazy with this. And then once you're done with it, you just kind of wipe this away. Now, this is really important. If you clean this and it starts to get kind of stringy, as I would say, it just gets, the fibers kind of get pulled out. That's where something like this coming in and just gently going in there, wiping that down to kind of get rid of that fuzz. Now, the important thing here that I want to mention with this is doing the sanding is not something I would do all the time. This is when you need a deep clean on it, something like this steering wheel. Now, for maintenance, all you would ever really need to do, grab your Posh Interior Care, grab a towel, just gently work it in. If the towel is clean after that, stop, you're good to go. If you get those piles, that's when you're going to want to break out the sandpaper. So that is really for more really, really wrecked Alcantara micro suede. This one doesn't really need a whole heck of a lot. I'm pretty happy with this. Just understand, just like with paint, when you're sanding it, you are removing material. So if you constantly do that, you're going to get to the point where you have none of this fluffy material left over, and it's really not going to look that good. So pretty cool tips there. And you can see, look at all the grain in there. It just looks absolutely awesome. So you can see that like little piece of fuzz back there. That's the type of stuff that sanding can actually remove. But man, this is looking fantastic, phenomenal. I'm going to let this fully dry. I'm going to clean up the rest of the car, get all the steering wheel dialed in. I'll bring you back to how it looks when it's fully done, fully dry. All right, guys, well, we are here about 2.5 hours later now, and really, really happy with how this dried out. You can still see we've got the beautiful micro suede in there, and it's just standing up perfectly. Just looks clean. I mean, this thing looks like a brand new steering wheel. And no, I promise I didn't replace it. This was the steering wheel that was in here, which is insane how nasty it was to get it back to factory fresh like this. Now, this material is something I absolutely love, but you have to understand this needs maintenance. This is not something you should let go, you know, really probably 30,000 miles without cleaning. This should be something you're frequently cleaning when it needs it. So it depends on you. It depends how you use your car. You know, if you're eating in your car, if you use a lot of lotion, this is definitely going to get nastier quicker. So having something like that Posh Interior Care, spray it on a towel, quickly wipe it down when you're just kind of tidying up the rest of your car here. But man, that is a truly impressive transformation. Absolutely thrilled with it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about Alcantara steering wheels, or maybe just enjoyed it for some satisfying detailing. Anyways, we'll see you in the next one soon. All the products I use will be in the link in the description below if you want to go pick those up to maintain your vehicle. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.